What if I told you paradise was possible in your lifetime? The people who have picked up on the threads of the Earth Battalion, the notion that that we're all basically miraculous beings and we just need to tune into those skills, I get excited. There's proto-mythology, writing the story of the world that we want. Social architecture examines how to wrap people in nature, comfort, textures, temperatures, music, and produce the maximum amount of life force. And the third skill set I would offer, which is around me now, is the ability to sort through a lot of options, pick the best ones, and then put them in the order they need to be put into in order to naturally construct one upon the other in a logical way and communicate that to a lot of people. For 35 years I've been listening to absolutely the smartest people I could find and my business would generate, including, 10 major Fortune 100 companies, their leadership, their staff, people from the United Nations, executives from other countries, over 2,000 intelligences. I would say I'm taking serious notes, and I want to show you how I take the notes, because this is visual language. Now they say if you can actually invent a language, you can invent a paradigm or a way of thinking, and the kind of thinking I'm trying to support here is to put everything you need to know on one picture, but explain where you are in time, like here, on your way to here, and what you have to pay attention to as you go along. So naturally we start off with thinking about exciting ventures or virtues that we would like to manifest. We come to a higher purpose. That breaks down into key goals, maybe a superordinate goal. That reduces itself to certain strategies that it takes to get there. We have adaptive leadership, which steers the ship along the way. At the same time, we're wrapping this entire, say, group of people or corporation or army or nation into a business process, a work-life culture, a natural setting. Good God, let's get out of buildings where there's no breath inside. And then other things like make the whole campus of the organization a global village. Why not? Then, of course, to support that, logistics, nimble steering, recruiting, training, and of course, probably now a net-centric organization. Things do not necessarily go top to bottom anymore. It's a series of networks that connect. And like that, when I take the art and bring the art to it, here were the 12 goals that the World Business Academy came up with, and that's 80 of the most reported on intelligences in the planet, men and women alike. We started off by looking at 100 ideas on how to bring the planet to a place in the future that we really, really liked. And the key idea here was to simply change our paradigm and not see Earth as just the stage we're operating on, but to see Earth as a paradise, because there's no reason to believe that this Earth, this particular Earth, couldn't be paradise if we would support that idea. Making a new partnership with nature is so key to that. And so then we see also something in this whole graphic that is pulling us toward the future. And here, to look at all of history in terms of the way people in the past have mythologized where the future could be. These mythologies are important because they're big ideas. We are a connected planet, and thank all those people in the last century who built airplanes and boats and ships and boxes and communications tools, because we are now a networked, connected, culturally symbiotic world. You can't expect power centers like nations to announce that they're actually less than you thought. So they're not going to announce that this is the new culturally unified world. We are going to have to announce it to become it. But we can put all our armies to work, for instance, on way more important things like recovering the biosphere than defending our own little ideas about who's most important and who's God's most important or whatnot. We're a unified family now. Time to act like that. And in order to get to that place, as we look at the best possible ways to reach out 100 years and choose a path that doesn't choose us. All right, let's look at a best possible future. Now you can imagine if I had listed all these 37 things on a big block or a page, or it would have been way too much to digest. So I landed it on a field of adventure and discovery. I've given it a soft turn into the future. This is generally the things we need to begin with. This is where we're going. It could take 100 years to get there. It may take a lot less. You're looking at sort of 4 new worlds. And this is the world where we make a new and renew our partnership with nature. We have not given nature the credit for the intelligence that she has. She has a better art. Like if you leave nature alone for 35 years and watch what it does, its R&D program is infinitely more sustainable than the one we would come into or build by putting things on top of her. So there's this world that's mostly in green. There's the world over here that's mostly sort of in orange and red, and these are how we take our technology, focusing primarily on biotech, which supports our return to nature, and converts all of our major unused resources. There's so many ways to serve the future, but the most important to me is to take all the people on Earth that are not directly employed in making the world a better place and put them to work. I think everybody needs a job toward this paradise world we're looking at. Then up here in the white are things I call life force. And life force encompasses spiritual things, physical things, mythological things, entertainment things. It's all the things that bring us to feeling alive. That is the bottom line, feeling alive. Don't tell me that one person has a better answer to that than the next. Just focus on it. From that place, everything is possible. And then, in the far-ranging future, or maybe not so far-ranging, is our contact with the galaxy. There are so many surprises in store for us, and I think we could see them coming really soon. Build a connection with the land, water. The Hopis had it pretty well right, etc. on that. And stay in your higher self. And if the changes are really radical, you're going to have to go with them. Don't fight it, because the changes are going to happen so fast. If you want to get to the rainbow, you got to get in the river and push off, as the Hopis say. But whether that comes or not, here is the proposal in somewhat more detail. We make this new partnership with nature. We rejoin the lands in groups of 10, 12, 15 people and make botanical oases. A botanical oasis is basically the Garden of Eden with food inside, services inside, a shop inside, things you need to do, but you're localizing your range of movement. You're making yourself eat things that are actually coming right out of the ground as you do that. This is the green stream, having the young people who are not employed at the moment moving into the country, picking up the older small farms, converting them. The kids do it, becoming experts, the young kids at collecting recyclables, the middle-aged young kids, middle schoolers, organizing those into random foraging forests, the teens helping the army replant the big forests, which are intelligent forests, and the college kids organizing the seed banks. And those seeds are really precious to us, and like water, don't belong in any one corporation's hands. We'll move back to global villages and new footprints like the ag hamlet. We'll scale everything smaller so it's more precious, including indigenous microorganisms, moving at a village speed where we can still walk to the place where we see our friends and have coffee, etc. So there's kind of the green scheme. And as you move over on this side, we'll take the militaries and the Operational Noble Steward, which is a YouTube production, shows how the armies recover agroforests. Those are intelligently planted forests that care for themselves naturally. The navies, and they also work on the watersheds. The navies work on things like overfishing and collecting the flotsam and the gyre. And the air forces do pollution surveillance from above, and also have transport to take emergency villages to people anywhere within 4 hours from the get-go. And the Marines get into the offshore wetlands. The corporate world, again, focusing on biotech, focusing on small power-related items, and moving all of their production line toward the partnership with nature, and well, making communications and whatnot more potent. You notice that I have in this scheme included the word imagination, included the word along the way as webocracy. We can drop our power centers now because their only purpose was to be listen to everybody who had something to get, and also communicating with each other about where the resources are. This will naturally produce a resource-based approach, moving our power centers into bioregions as we go forward. Now, what do we do about ourselves and our own capacity to enjoy life? Well, it does in many cases involve clean water as a big deal, moving at a more comfortable speed, having alive soils and a certain profound simplicity, checking our ascension, or our capacity to grow our awareness with vibrational ascension, and a certain interdimensional fluency. This will happen when you're really trying to pay attention to many different states of being, states of knowing, and different places that are going to come to us. It may be the biggest shock of the century is how many states of being we actually have to manage in our head. Gosh, the dream state is getting a little more real. All of that will contribute to life force living, as much feeling state as possible, as little stress as possible, and whatever you view as spiritual ascension or conscious evolution will be a part of that. We accept that we will be one united Earth. There's no doubt about that. It already exists for the most part. It just hasn't really been announced. And we will carve, for instance, canals into the desert so that the rising seas can move to a place where we don't have to put concrete around all the shorelines. I'm not at all sure that as we look at the next period of time, that we should start off thinking we know what the economy should be before we know what the civilization should be. We really want to live in a beautiful culture more than we want to have a banking system that continues to invite the robber barons to come and play bad games. I mean, I'm all for changing the monetary system we have. Money does provide a certain incentive without providing raw material. But you know, it just has to be like old barnacles. It has to be scraped off on a regular basis. Just like reinventing ourselves on a regular basis. So here we are, the 21st century. Nature, culture, and life force. nature, culture, and life force. And may the economy we create support all of that, and not the people who run the economy. So, as they say, go planet.